Whether you own, lease, rent, or borrow a bus, van, or other vehicle, if you're planning a trip, it is essential that you take safety precautions to minimize risk and ensure everyone has a safe and enjoyable time. Here are a few guidelines to consider. Before departing, conduct a thorough inspection. Start with the outside of the vehicle by walking around it and assessing its overall condition. Then check the tire pressure, examine the tread, and look for signs of cracking and wearing. Don't forget to make sure the spare tire is in good condition as well. Look under the vehicle for leaks, and look behind the vehicle for any sight obstructions. Next, it's time for an internal inspection. Check under the hood for any loose wires or hoses. Examine fluid levels for the windshield washer, transmission, and power steering, refilling as needed, and check the oil. Inside the vehicle, start the engine and listen for unusual noises. Test the brakes, horn, windshield wipers, fans, and defrosters. Look for any lit warning lights and check the gauges are working. If you are traveling by bus, also be sure to test the emergency door and buzzer. Next, check the lights. Have someone outside of the vehicle ensure that all front, rear, and signal lights are functioning properly. Finally, don't forget to make sure the safety belts are in good condition and working properly. Your vehicle should be maintained regularly. Check records to make sure everything is up to date. Now that you've made sure the vehicle's mechanics are in good working order, there are several general safety precautions to consider before leaving on a trip. Make sure there is a first aid kit in the vehicle, as well as a working flashlight and extra batteries. The vehicle should include a working fire extinguisher, emergency flares, reflectors, jumper cables, spare fuses, and a fully charged cell phone. Also, keep blankets, water, and snacks in the vehicle. Now let's go over a few tips as your group arrives and you prepare for departure. If you haven't done so already, collect emergency contact information for each person on the trip. If your group has luggage, avoid using a luggage rack, as it increases the risk of rollover. Before leaving, go over the rules of the road, including no horseplay or distractive behavior. Enforce the use of car seats or booster seats for children who need them. Check your state's laws for details. And safety belts should be used at all times. Pay close attention to the weather, and don't risk it. If conditions are dangerous, it is better to delay the trip. Finally, for longer trips, have 2 qualified drivers so the person behind the wheel is always alert. And have a great trip. There are additional precautions with a 15-passenger van. Be aware that in some states, using a 15-passenger van to transport students is against the law. Because they are more difficult to maneuver, only a driver who is at least 25 years old and who has experience operating a 15-passenger van should do so. Limit the number of passengers to 10, fill the seats front to back, and avoid loading cargo on top of the van. And as always, enforce the use of seatbelts. These are just a few ways that you can help minimize risk when taking a trip. For more detailed information, like our 15-passenger van and other transportation resources,